7, support water polo. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss, Sunday, April 24th, 2022. Let's close out the New England North Atlantic A Championship with a bang in the 5th place game, featuring in the dark caps the Yale University Bulldogs in the dark caps and the Cornell University Big Red at Ithaca, New York. In the white, Yale in the quarterfinals lost to Boston University 10-7, but bounced back with an 18-5 win over Coast Guard. While the Cornell Big Red lost its quarterfinal to MIT 11-7, bounced back in a thriller against Tufts in Game 7, 17-15 in overtime. One of 3 overtime games that take place in this tournament. For those just joining us, from like a refresher, Boston College defeated Dartmouth 7-5 in overtime for the Eagles' 3rd straight New England Division title and 4th overall. BC has won 34 straight division games. BC, back-to-back games in overtime, back-to-back games trailing by 3 at some point in the contest. Dartmouth was vying for its first title since 2017. But that drought will continue for at least another year. Cornell, usually in the New York division, but in the New England this season, since the New York division could not lock down enough sites for a full season. And then there's Yale of the North Atlantic. Yale was the North Atlantic 2 position. Actually finished 3rd in North Atlantic at 3-1, only played 1 and 2 regular season tournaments. In the 2 position for the North Atlantic because Middlebury, which finished 7-1 and 2nd in North Atlantic, elected to compete in the North Atlantic New England B Championship yesterday and today, held at Middlebury College. Middlebury didn't want to abandon ship. Middlebury, by the way, scheduled to host the 2022 Women's Division III Collegiate Club Championship April 30th and May 1st. Yale in dark, swimming top to bottom. Cornell in white, bottom to top, to start our 5th place game. How about Boston College winning back-to-back games in overtime? Both games in which the Eagles trailed by 3 at some point. Yale possession. Bulldogs defeated MIT, which finished 3rd in this tournament in the regular season, to hand the Engineers their lone regular season loss. MIT defeated Boston U 8-7 in the 3rd place game. Here's Cornell going bottom to top. Ordinary foul, now at half distance for the Big Red. We'll go for the long shot, but that's heading to Ithaca. And a goal throw here for Michelle Liu or Chloe Glass. This is our final game of this tournament at the Margo Connell Rec Center in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Now going top to bottom, Yale. Set up. Ordinary foul. Now dribbling in. Time of the essence. Shot clock violation for Yale. Cornell will assume possession. They're the Big Red here. Played only 1 tournament in the New England this season. Cornell and Columbia came out in New York for this season to be in New England to have some play. And able to bang the gong there. Big Red 1-0 Cornell in white in their first few minutes of the 5th place game. Cornell had been in the New York Division title game in each of the previous 2 years, being crowned champion in 2018, runner-up to Hartlick in 2019. Cornell finished 0-3 at the 2019 National Collegiate Club Championship at Notre Dame as the runner-up in New England, had been at the NCCC since Hartlick had been a year removed from varsity status. The New York Division elected Hartwick to not participate in championship competition beyond division play. Now here comes Yale going top to bottom. Now go against side. And Cornell comes up with a loose change. But Yale able to prowl its way back. Yale used to be in the New York division. Like the Bulldogs have won New England division title 2006. Yale also has two New England New Orf Atlantic titles, rather, 2013 and 16. And Yale able to exchange the blow there. So 1-1 is the score now for the Bulldogs. Now it's going the other way. Looking to take the lead if our eyes are correct. Neri, Bulldogs fighting, and gets the goal. So 2-1 now, I think. As more substitutions will be made. And Cornell going back to work. We're sorry for our camera not moving. Now, it is now. And we're sorry for those issues we had, and able to beat the keeper again. So another goal for the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs out in front after Cornell got on the board first. In our fifth place game. Yale had been to two North Atlantic Division title games, 2-0 in those. Yale had been 1-3 in New England Division crowns, in New England Division title games. And now here comes the Big Red, Cornell, driving on the top. Now we move ahead, down in front, blocked there by the keeper. And now here is Yale, which has the lead. Couple minutes remaining in the first quarter. Bulldogs in front. Yale of New Haven, Connecticut. Cornell of the Ivy of Ithaca. And boy, Yale really putting it on now. Scoreboard has 4-1 Bulldogs. With 2 minutes and change to go in the first. It's a 4-0 Yale run. First place game, Boston College defeated Dartmouth 7-5 in overtime. It was 5-5 entering overtime. It was 3-2 Dartmouth 3-1 Dartmouth at the half. Out in front, Cornell ends this run. So the Big Red able to respond, make it a 4-2 game. Back to work goes. The Yale Bulldogs from the North Atlantic out in front, and wow, that is a torpedo, that's for sure. We make the score 5-2 now in favor of the Yale Bulldogs. Yale this season at 3-1. Played just one tournament. It was the second regular season tournament, April 9th and 10th at Bowdoin. Defeated MIT 10-8. Got a 5-0 forfeit win against Bowdoin. And in front, Cornell chips in another 5-3 now, with 1:25 remaining in the first. In our first place game, we didn't get the 8th goal of the game until the 4th quarter. So we still have over a minute remaining in our opening period. And on April 10th, Yale defeated Bates 18-4, but lost to defending Division III Collegiate Club champ Middlebury 10-7. Middlebury likely look to defend its D3 title next weekend at the Middlebury Natatorium against 6 other teams. And that one is thrusted a little too far. Goal throw now for the Bulldogs in the dark, going top to bottom. Now under a minute remaining. On March 14th, teams voted to combine the North Atlantic and New England Division championships. As originally, Middlebury was supposed to host the North Atlantic this weekend, and Boston College was going to exclusively do this New England Division tournament. It'll be a power play for Cornell, timeout, Big Red. Shot clock is unplugged. So the exclusion, I believe, is on number 19, Mariko Rooks. There was already an exclusion on Cornell. It was on Cornell's number 10. We're unable to provide you the name. Did not get the roster for the Big Red in time. We're sorry about that. So make sure you check out the CWPA YouTube channel, your #1 video source for everything water polo. Tip of the week series, inside water moments, highlights, and more. That's youtube.com and search CWPA water polo. On the CWPA varsity scoreboard in the CWPA Division I Varsity Championship third place game, Princeton defeated Brown 11-8. In the CWPA Division I first place game, congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines, 6-time defending champs now, defeating the Harvard Crimson 10-4. So Michigan advances to the NCAA tournament, which it would actually host May 6th to 8th. So Canham Natatorium should be a fun place to be in a few weekends. Now back to action, Cornell on the power play. Shot clock is unplugged. Now the cross. Have to expire. Blocked at the field. And we'll dribble it off. 7 minutes have elapsed. And we got ourselves a battle. Cornell coming off a 17-15 overtime win over Tufts. And right now, we got some offense 5-3 Cornell, 5-3 Yale in the dark over Cornell in white. This is to decide 5th place. We'll be back after this brief tip of the week. Yale in the dark leads Cornell in white 5-3 as we start the second quarter of the New England North Atlantic Combined A Championship 5th place game. 7th place game was Tufts 12, Coast Guard Academy 8. 3rd place game was a thriller. MIT 8, Boston University 7. MIT led 4-1 at halftime, once led 5-1 in the third, and BU stormed back, took a 1-goal lead at one point in the fourth, but could not hold on for long. And then our first place game, second consecutive game for Boston College to go to overtime, second consecutive game in which the Eagles trailed by 3 at one point, and the same result. BC defeated Dartmouth 7-5 in overtime. The Eagles have now won 3 straight New England Division titles and 4th New England title ever. Also won the North Atlantic Division title twice. So the Eagles have punched a ticket to Huntsville, Alabama, the Huntsville Aquatic Center, May 6th, 7th, and 8th for the National Collegiate Club Championship. Should be a lot of fun if the circumstances permit. Yale and Dark going top to bottom with a 2-goal lead. We'll start us off here. Both Yale and Cornell are Ivy League institutions, but they're not in the same division in water polo. Normally, Cornell will be in New York. So it is a rare occurrence for Yale versus Cornell in CWPA Club water polo. Back to work goes the Big Red. Cornell now looking, plotting its options. About 10 seconds left on the shot clock. You get 35 seconds per possession. Drifting back. Gotta take a shot. And that's a shot clock violation. Well done by the Yale Bulldogs. To start off this second rather. 5 in the first, 0 in the second so far. And that is one touch out of play by the Cornell keeper. She didn't realize that it was last touched by her to meter for the Bulldogs of New Haven, Connecticut. Boy, they're taking a lot of time. Don't want to get called for the screen. That one is deflected in there. Cornell keeper could not punch it ahead. Instead, went the wrong direction. And it's now 6-3. 5:24 remaining in the first half of our 5th place game. So in this tournament, we've had 4 games decided by 3 or fewer goals, 3 of which went to overtime. There were 8 games yesterday. This is our 4th and final today. So for 1/3 of the games, at the very least right now, to be very close is making this such an entertaining tournament. And you're able to pull it back. Now, on the move for Cornell, trying to apply the pressure. And there's an ordinary foul. Cornell faithful right now haven't had very much to be enthused. Able to get a scorcher. Boy, that was a dunk tank type launch. Like, here's the target. Let's dunk the other player down. Now, this is not a dunk tank. This is water polo, but you get the gist. 7-3 Yale with 5 in the first, 2 in the second. Lead rose to 4 for the Bulldogs. Winner of this game would finish 5th. Loser would be 6th. Yale would be the second highest finisher from the North Atlantic in this tournament. And the Bulldogs 3-1 in North Atlantic play, only played one regular season tournament out of 2. Cornell also played 1 out of 2. Finished 4th to squeak into this tournament in the New England. The pick up there by the Big Red. Hopefully we'll be able to have the New York division in years to come. Bulldogs back to work. Now out ahead. Stop. Now there is a very strange possibility that this might not be Yale's final game of the season. Yale could still, in theory, qualify for the National Collegiate Club Championship if, and it's a big if MIT elects to participate in the Division III Collegiate Club Championship with Middlebury, because then that opens up a spot. And then it would go to the next highest finisher of this division, which would be Yale, because Tufts finished in 7th and Coast Guard 8th. Tufts might still be alive for a Division III Collegiate Club Championship berth if MIT elects to participate in the National Collegiate Club Championship as the highest finishing North Atlantic participant in this tournament at 3rd, and Middlebury plays in the D3 Collegiate Club Championship. There's a lot to be played out. Now, Cornell would like to get on the comeback train right now. Swimming bottom to top on your screens, top to bottom in dark for Yale. 3 in the first, 0 in the second for Cornell. 5 in the first, 2 in the second for Yale. At the Margot Connell Rec Center in Chestnut Hill, Mass. Out in front, and able to just deke it in there with a smidge tip. 7-4. Cornell with its first goal of the second quarter. So the score is within 3. Now, Yale will look for another response. Bulldogs already near the hole position, fires and able to rebound with another netter, 8-4. Bulldogs in dark with 1:36 to go. The second quarter. Number 10 for Cornell has 2 exclusion fouls, or maybe 2 goals. If she has 2 exclusion fouls, one more would put her out of the game. And Cornell unable to make something. That's number 4, Robbie Bickerton. Now dribbling ahead. Boy, that one looked like it was heading to the stands. Cornell will take over control and do the half-distance heave. Cornell's not out of it yet. Our first 3 games, the margin had been 7-goal difference. It was out in front, but not where it needed to be. Cornell's a second effort, but that is onto the protective netting. 7th place game was 12-8 Tufts over Coast Guard. Timeout with 28 seconds to go in the first half. So for Yale, exclusion fouls and Aaron Bailey, number 3, and number 19, Mariko Brooks. Of course, this facility, the Margo Connell Rec Center, opened a few years ago. This is the first New England Division Championship tournament, I believe, to take place here. This is a combined tournament. There will be an exclusion on Cornell. Yale with a chance at more. Yale will dribble in, and boy, that looked like a fastball for a called strike. And boy, that was a strike. Like it was a baseball move. Boy, she really wanted to take it to the house, and it's 9-4. 5 in the first, 4 in the second. Yale in control. One last effort by the Big Red before we had the break. And Cornell may take it. There's the chance. And it misses. That is the end of the first half. The score through 2 quarters. Yale in the dark, 9. Cornell in the white, 5. Yale in dark, 5 in the first, 4 in the second for 9. And Cornell in white, 3 in the first, 2 in the second for 5. Actually, 3 in the first, 1 in the second for 4. 9-4 score. Halftime here in Chestnut Hill. Let's send it over for Cap 7 Tip of the Week. PA Network, third quarter about to be underway in our 5th place game of the New England North Atlantic A Championship. Yale in dark 9, Cornell in white 4. Yale the North Atlantic 2 position, Cornell the New England 4. This is the last game of the tournament. And so far, Yale has been the dominant force. Led 5-3 entering the second and had a 4-1 second quarter run. Now, Cornell has one player, number 10, not had the roster available at this time, with 2 exclusions, and Cornell's number 23 in white has 1. Aaron Bailey and Mariko Brooks have 1 exclusion apiece, so there haven't been as many exclusion fouls, but that is something to keep in mind as we progress in this second half. The 5-goal lead for the Yale Bulldogs, and Yale in dark has it off the noggin to start, but they are able to maintain possession. So Yale now going top to bottom in the dark caps, bottom to top rather, while it's Cornell going top to bottom. Cornell in white top to bottom, and Yale in dark bottom to top. Yale defeated Coast Guard 18-5 in its previous game to get to the 5th place tilt. Cornell defeated Tufts 17-15 in overtime in its previous game. Both of these teams lost quarterfinal matchups. Now dribbling bottom to top, the Yale Bulldogs, which has won a couple of division championships, but none in some time. Hasn't won a division title since 2013 in the North Atlantic. That goes over the prize. Cornell will take it from here. Now the other way, and Yale is still playing target practice. Oh, sorry, actually, that was Cornell. Cornell able to scorch it 9-5. Boy, offense has come out and running here. There have been more goals in this game than in the New England first place game, which preceded this one, in which Boston College came back from 3 goals down to win 7-5 in overtime, trailed 3-1 at halftime. The Eagles didn't score till 9 seconds left in the second quarter. Now Yale now leading by 4. a good time for Cornell to really show its true colors. And that sails wide right to the protective netting. And the Big Red can get on the roll. We saw in our third place game, Boston University 1.12 5-1. Eventually, the Terriers actually led 7-6, but it didn't last for long. MIT was able to come back and win 8-7 for third. Exclusion foul on the Bulldogs, so the Big Red and White down 4 can trim it further. We'll think about it and fire and finds the sweet spot. 9-6, 2-0 run. 9-6. 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. Cornell is within 3. Boy, would it be interesting if all 4 of our placement games today are decided by 4 or fewer goals. The largest margin of victory so far in our placement games in this tournament have been 12-8 Tufts win over the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in the 7th place affair. Now setting up dangerous possession, ordinary foul. Good setup, able to feed and finish it. Caught Cornell off guard, 10-6 Yale now. And the dark caps over to Cornell Big Red and White. This might be one of the few times you see the Bulldogs and Big Red face off in CWPA Club Water Polo. Now, eventually, we might see Ivy League with varsity water polo status. You have Princeton, Harvard, and Brown in CWPA Division I. Oh, what a nice move. Able to go cross lane there. And Cornell responds. It's 10-7 now. It's a 3-1 scoring run for the Big Red. No, Cornell. Cornell's men's club team qualified for the Men's National Collegiate Club Championship in fall of 2021. Looks like the women's club won't do the same here, but would like to try to finish off strong. And 3-goal deficit is not out of reach. Yale, though, trying to out-hustle right now. Fires and able to respond with the right corner. It's 11-7 with 3:45 remaining in the third. And for just the second time today, a team has scored double digits. The most any team has scored today was 12, and that was Tufts, a 4-goal win over Coast Guard. We haven't had any team score 20 goals in this tournament. The most was Dartmouth, 18-3 win over Tufts in Game 4 yesterday. So we've had a good amount of defense in this tournament. In fact, we've had more games with both teams scoring 9 or fewer in this tournament than the Division III varsity championship the last few days. And that was a nice save, the other end, by the Cornell keeper. And in response, in transition, Cornell now gets it back. That was while we were mentioning about the D3 varsity championship from each of the last 3 combined days. There were 17 games, all 17 involved at least one team scoring double figures. And right now, Yale leading by 4, dribbling from bottom to top on your screen, setting up for the whole position and able to feed the flames. Fuel the fire, 12-7 Bulldogs. Each team with 3 apiece. 5-3 was the score after 1 in favor of Yale. 9-4 was the halftime score in favor of the Bulldogs. And after this game, the next time we would be in the CWPA network, if the circumstances permit, would be a Division III Collegiate Club Championship on April 30th at Middlebury College. 6 games Saturday, April 30th, and 3 placement games Sunday, May 1st. It'll be the second ever Women's Division III National Collegiate Club Championship. Middlebury is the defending champ, so the Panthers will look to defend the title. It is hurled out of play, but there's no deflection, so there will be outlet Cornell. They manually let their guard down. Another ordinary foul. Feet of the head. Pressure. Good save there by Cap 1B. A little Chloe Glass. Glass had the outreach. Going the other way. Went to Margot Connell Rec Center in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts at Boston College. Using the pull to the advantage. Yale ups the lead to 6. Once had been a 3-goal difference, and the Bulldogs putting a run together. Yale also had 18 goals in the game, with Dartmouth defeating Tufts 18-3. Yale defeated Coast Guard 18-5 in Game 5 to get to this game. Bulldogs did not score 20 goals in a game this season. Back in North Atlantic play in 2022, most any team scored had been 18. Looks like there is a timeout as Cornell is going to set up. Or is there a 5-meter? Cornell calls timeout. CWPA is a podcast called PoloCast, where we take a deep dive into some of the most prominent people of water polo, talking about the sport, their lives, who they are, and how they got there. 34 episodes available now with host George Gross Jr. Be sure to check out PoloCast, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. You're watching the 5th place game of the 2022 Women's Club New England North Atlantic A Championship, hosted by Boston College. Brought to you by Cap 7, the premier water polo provider specializing in all your water polo needs. The New England North Atlantic B Championship, Bracket A had UMass, Northeastern, and Wellesley. Bracket B had Middlebury, Williams, and Columbia. And that tournament wrapped up with first in Bracket A versus first in Bracket B at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Middlebury actually had been the 2nd position in the North Atlantic, but wanted to play in the tournament it hosted. And also Middlebury gets an automatic berth to Division III Collegiate Club Championship as the host. Now, if Middlebury is the 2, Middlebury gets the host position, the 6th position, and not the 1 as the North Atlantic highest representative. And believe it or not, the Panthers could potentially play their first game of D3s against Washington University in St. Louis, which is in the 2nd position, which would be a rematch of the Division III Collegiate Club Championship. That would be Game 2 of the tournament. And wouldn't that be something to have a rematch of the 2019 D3 CCC? In which Middlebury defeated Wash U 14-11. And that made Brian Goodwin one of the few coaches to win the Collegiate Club Championship at the same school with both the women's and men's squad. The men won many years ago, D3 clubs. Cornell on the power play takes it. There was an opening, but the post had been good, had been unkind. So Yale getting back with the 6-goal edge toward the closing parts of the 3rd. 5 in the 1st, 4 in the 2nd, 4 in the 3rd for 13 in the dark. 5 in the 1st, 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 in the third for the Cornell Big Red. And boy, Yale's really putting it to Cornell now, as that went straight into the back of the net. 14-7 Bulldogs. 5th goal of the quarter. And that's the most goals any team has scored in any game today in this tournament. Yale, though, has to be careful here that Cornell doesn't have a 1 in it. Ordinary foul for the Bulldogs. Big red and white dribbling top to bottom on your screen. And that'll do it for the third quarter. A 5-goal lead is now 7. Yale 7 minutes away from 5th place in this New England North Atlantic A Combined Championship 5th place game. 14 for Yale in the dark. And 7 for Cornell in white. For the second time in 3 quarters today, Yale outscored Cornell 5-3. 14-7 as we head to our final period of regulation.
Top 7 is a small company that
Cornell in the regular season played just one tournament, February 12th and 13th at Williams College. Believe lost to Boston University 12-6. Bounced back off a 12-8 win against UMass. 11-4 win over Williams. And slipped against the Dartmouth Big Green by a score of 10-4. And Yale won 3-1 in North Atlantic play, losing only 1 game in 4 scheduled games, and that was 10-7 to Middlebury. And next weekend at the Division III Collegiate Club Championship, we'll have 2 teams from the North Atlantic Division, along with Washington University in St. Louis, Hamilton College, Carleton College of the Heartland Division, and UC Santa Cruz. Both WashU and Carleton were at the inaugural D3 Collegiate Club Championship in 2019. Carleton finished 6 out of 6 teams. WashU was the runner-up. The Bears were actually the 1 seed in that tournament, Middlebury the 2. Middlebury did not have any trouble in that title game. In fact, WashU may have not had a lead. So Cornell down 7 in the Whitecaps. It will be Yale and dark going from bottom to top on your screens. For the sprint, won by the Yale Bulldogs. Yale season high 18. Cornell coming up for 17-15 overtime win over Tufts. And boy, Yale really trying to put this out of reach in the early going of the 4th. 15-7 now, Bulldogs. Second straight game, Yale has at least 15. Yale in Game 5 defeated Coast Guard 18-5. Coast Guard finished 8th in this tournament. Coast Guard can thank Middlebury for not participating in this tournament. Otherwise, the Bears would have been at the North Atlantic New England B Championship tournament in Middlebury. Out in front, Cornell able to dish one to the cage. 15-8 now. Lead back to 7 for the Bulldogs with 6:17 remaining in regulation. Cornell this season has not lost a game when scoring double figures. back to work for the Bulldogs, leading 15-8. Yale established itself toward the mid part of the first quarter and hasn't looked back. That one was touched out of play. We'll exchange possession to Cornell. Hard to believe this season in the New England division, there were 0 games in which both teams had at least 10 goals. Which is quite odd. And boy, that will be swum off there by the Yale keeper and will dangle loose change and feed it ahead. Cornell trailing by 7 with 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 in the third, 0 in the fourth. Yale 5 in the first, 4 in the second, 5 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Now at the top, we'll take it. And there's an offensive foul. Do not count the shot. She really wanted to take her frustration. I don't know why we want to be frustrated when you are leading by 7. But boy, Yale versus Cornell, an Ivy League rivalry. Yale, the North Atlantic. Cornell, the New England. Good dish and send off. 16-8. Bulldogs lead. With 4:40 remaining in the regulation. The scoreboard needs to change now. I think it's 16-8, right? With 4:40 remaining. There we go. As for the North Atlantic division, this is also odd. There have been 0 games in the regular season in North Atlantic in which both teams score double figures. But those are divisions that you either keep it close or one team dominates. Not necessarily both teams get explosive on offense. Looks like an exclusion on Yale, the power play for Cornell. And boy, the Big Red would like to keep showing that while the game might be out of reach, they still have some weapons. There's a battle for the rock with the keeper. And with that, Yale takes over. Now be a timeout. 3:58 remaining for Yale. 16-8 Bulldogs. So Yale looking to finish the season at 4-3 when 2-2 in New England play. Yale looking to finish 5-2 when 3-1 in North Atlantic, looking to be 2-1 in this tournament. While Cornell, which won 2-2 in New England, would finish 3-4 with a loss here. Well, this has been a really fun tournament, nonetheless, as this is the only game today, which at this point is quite lopsided. In fact, this is the largest lead by a leading team. Tufts had a 12-6 lead in its 12-8 win over Coast Guard. Boston College in the first place game defeated Dartmouth 7-5 in overtime. Second straight game in which the Eagles needed extras to defeat their opponent, and the second straight game that not only went to overtime, but the Eagles trailed by 3 at any given point. BC defeated Boston University in the semifinal yesterday 9-8 in overtime. In the fourth quarter of that game, the BU Terriers actually led 7-4, but Terriers could not hold on. Now in today's first place game, which Boston College defeated Dartmouth by 2 in overtime for the Eagles to win their third straight New England crown, BC did not take a lead until the first overtime. That's how intense of a game it was. The Eagles trailed 3-0 at one point in the second quarter. Didn't score until 9 seconds remaining in the second quarter on a 5-meter shot. And now we resume play here. Out of the timeout. We're back in the water. Yale going bottom to top in the dark to the right side at 5 meters. We'll swing it ahead, but no luck this time. Bulldogs led 9-4 at halftime after a 5-3 first quarter, 9-4. 5-3 first quarter lead. So the Bulldogs were able to pull away. Trying to force the ball under, and well. Back to the Yale Bulldogs of New Haven, Connecticut. On the CWPA club scoreboard, Notre Dame is the Midwest champion, defeating Grand Valley State 11-3 in the first place game. Congratulations to Brian Coughlin and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish for capturing the Midwest Division title, capping off an unbeaten season, if I'm not mistaken. And that would be a shot clock violation. Well done, though, by Yale to stifle the Big Red. Actually, well done by the Big Red to stifle the Bulldogs, which lead by 8. A little bit too far. Too much mustard. On the CWPA club scoreboard in the Big Ten first place game, Michigan leads Michigan State at halftime in the club, ranking 7-0. Michigan State is the defending Big Ten champ. Looks like Michigan will grab it back unless Matt Laham's Spartans have a comeback of the century. So limited time remaining here, a couple minutes or so. That is blocked at 5 meters. Back to work for the Big Red and White, going top to bottom. Now from long range, oh boy, she had her eye on that net and able to execute. 16-9 Yale now. Each team with 2 apiece this ultimate quarter. And teams will make some substitutions. Cornell and White, 3 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 in the third, and 2 in the fourth. Yale and Dart, 5 in the first, 4 in the second, 5 in the third, 2 in the fourth. And the Cornell faithful trying to provide as much encouragement as possible, even though it's out of reach right now in this 5th place game. Yale of the North Atlantic, Cornell of the New England. Cornell normally of the New York division. That division did not contest the full schedule this season. Out in front, shebang. Bulldogs with 51 seconds away, put an exclamation point. So Yale will end up 5-2 on the season in 7 games played in either North Atlantic / New England combined games. Cornell went 2-2 in the regular season, if we're not mistaken. Will end up 3-4. Cornell had its sights set on the New York division in 2022, but that division couldn't get any sights for a full schedule. Broken up in the field, but instead there was an exclusion called on Yale. Power play with 17 seconds left. This could be the last possession. So Yale's going to claim first place. And we thank you for tuning in to CWPA Network throughout the last handful of days, Thursday, Friday, yesterday, and now today, for Division III varsity, Division I varsity, and this tournament. And that should just about do it. Last possession. Cornell would like to get one more. Now we'll take it and deliver the goods. First game this tournament, each team has double figures, and that's how we end. Final score from Margot, Connell, Rec Center, and Chestnut Hill. Yale in the dark, 17. Cornell in the white 10. Yale finishes the tournament in 5th, and Cornell in 6th. That will do it here on the CWPA Network. Director of Multimedia, Justin Seipert. Commissioner Dan Sharon, and Director of Communication, Ed Haas. Coordinator of Officials, Ed Reed. Presto Sports Stretch Internet is our internet provider. Also brought to you by Cap 7, the official ball and competition gear at Water Polo. Shop Cap 7, support Water Polo. Thank you to the fans, officials, coaches, players, spectators, camera operators, and everyone making this possible. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. Have a great rest of your Sunday and weekend. Final scores, 17-10. Yale over Cornell. Bulldogs finish 5th. Cornell 6th.